that I can help with, we'll do it.
So let's segue again. So I know you're a musician.
Yep.
Musician buddy of mine.
Yep.
And I know you're very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And so church is a natural part of your life, like you alluded to earlier. How being a musician, and you kind of hit something that kind of hit home with me. You said, hey, fathers are there. You're there. Some fathers get caught being in the church. They love in the church and not there for their families. How do you go about in covering with regards to you being a musician in church, the church life and the home life? How do you?
I see what's relevant. I see my kids and how my kids move. I see what they're paying attention to, what they're not paying attention to. I'm kind of caught in between because I understand the old school church, but I understand millennials, and I understand them to the point where I'm just as nonchalant about the decisions that they make. not that much. I have a lot of common sense, but when it comes to millennials, I understand how they view church. I can definitely see why they look at the church the way they do, and it's important for me as a father is to make decisions that's going to not just make it easier for me, because sometimes it's easy to take your children to church and have a preacher preach at them.
Right.
And say, well, see, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to you being the Lord over your house. Everything that comes into this house is subject to me. And I first have to have myself in a better relationship with God and the right decision. I have to be as best as I can, understanding that I make mistakes too, but I have to be Lord over my house. And if it takes me pulling my family out of a church and to teaching them the word of God, and to letting them understand how things go, not teaching them what we used to do years ago in other seasons of our lives back in the 19th and 20th century church, but understand that you could have the same effect, you can have the same relationship with God that I have with God. You don't necessarily need anybody to manipulate and move you and do this. You have to have a yearning within yourself to want to sit and read the word and gravitate towards it and get as much as you can so you can be better. So it's my decision as a father. I can teach my children.
Right.
I can teach them. My wife and I can really go through the word, teach them the word. I'm not ignorant of it. We don't necessarily need it. That's not everybody's decision to make.
Yeah.
But it's my responsibility.
So let me ask you this question: How do you view the church as an institution? How do you view that? Like as far as like, what is the church?
That's a loaded question for me. Let's just go. The church can be a better asset to people if their motivation wasn't always doing fundraisers and doing this and doing that. The church should be a voice in the community. Should be. So if grandma's grandson went to jail for whatever reason, the church shouldn't speak against it and speak against it. They should know their position in their heart, but still go support that individual that's locked up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
If a child has a child out of wedlock, we shouldn't have us stand up in the middle of the church and say, well, I wronged everybody.
Right.
You wrong who? You ain't wrong me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But I think we put a lot of emphasis on these moral values that we have that are sensitive to us.
Right.
And instead of the moral values that are sensitive to God.
Right.
So it's important, I'll stress it, it's important that we pay attention to everything that's going around. Fathers have a very keen eye. As a musician, I'm sure I can sit in my area, in my station, and I can see the flow of spirit happen, and I can see it not happening. Right. And I can see it trying to, but I can see sometimes we can just be caught up, or the folk can be caught up in some sort of a trance. And I can sit back and really see it and speak truth to it. And it bothers me that folk that can stand in the podium or the pulpit and don't recognize what it is and be able to adjust their message and to say, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. And I'm not talking about anybody specific, but we can't be individuals that stand in the podium and just point fingers at people and point fingers at people. Maybe people have a way they think. Right. I think we have to break down. Okay, let's come down a little bit. Let's just teach. We don't have to hoop. We don't have to holler. We don't have to go A flat. We don't have to turn on the shout track. We don't have to turn on the shout track and shout and holler and scream. I think we need to be taught. Years ago, maybe in the 20th century, I do believe us having a lot of teaching at that, and I think we at that point got a lot of spiritual food. Now we're more feeling oriented. We want to feel something, so we would rather shout and knock over stuff as opposed to worship.
I think with that same notion that you're saying, I want to throw a thought and a question at you. Mm-hmm. The thought is, with the men, mm-hmm. I'm just talking about men, mm-hmm. being that men are not as feely or emotional, mm-hmm. as women, mm-hmm. when you incorporate an institution like the church, whatever, all the feeling aspects, I think men, we want to learn something mm-hmm. while we're there, and maybe less of the emotional mm-hmm.
Stuff.
Nothing
mm-hmm.
against that. I'm just mm-hmm. saying,
absolutely,
for men. So if you could find a church that kind of incorporates maybe a good balance of that, I think, because I think there's not a lot of men in church to get it. The question is the church, like you said, you read the Bible yourself mm-hmm. outside of church, mm-hmm. and you kind of teach your family, or y'all have Bible mm-hmm. time together. Mm-hmm. Do you believe, and it's probably might be a loaded question, that mm-mm. most men, mm-hmm. Going to church, should they take more of a personal approach to the Bible instead of, like you say, you go to church, you listen to what they say, and that's it. You run with that. And as a man, or as a father yourself, how important is it for you to read the Bible yourself and mm-hmm. to kind of, and if you have questions, then maybe get with somebody that's more
exactly
in that.
Yeah, it's important. I think it is the relationship that you should have personally with God should be the same relationship that you have with your families. Similarly, it should be something that not only should you have a relationship with God, but you should also have that way of communicating that with your family. It is important that you pray. It is important that you seek God. It is important. So I'm never ever going to go away from or get away from the relationship that you should have with God through and by Jesus Christ. That is something that is very important.
Personal too.
It should be something that we hold personal. What happens sometimes, I believe, is we don't have that personal relationship, and we rely on somebody else to give that to us.
Right.
And that's where the issues come in, because that's when manipulation can come in. That's when a lot of things else can come in. But when you have that relationship with God, He's downloading into you, into your spirit, what He has.
God bless you. Welcome to our National Homecoming Convention. I'm Dr. Walter Ory, and we are excited that you've decided to become a part of this special time of praise and worship to our Lord Jesus Christ.
And I'm co-pastor Violet Ory. We want you to join us each night, 18th through 25th. We're going to have some awesome teaching, some powerful preaching, testimonials, shout-outs, roundtable discussion, and lots of great singing. You don't want to miss it. Please let someone else know so they can join in as well.
And there are several different ways you can tune in to what we're doing. Simply by going to Kairos TV channel on your Roku device. Another way of tuning in, of course, is downloading our Kairos TV app on your mobile phone. There's another way also. It's our webpage, and you can simply go to kairos.tv and view us from our webpage. And of course, our YouTube and Facebook pages, you can view us that way also.
Now please join us for a program that's already in progress, and we'll be right back.
With Kairos TV. We're here at the International Film and Music Festival in Orlando, Florida. It's amazing out here. There are so many films, writers, producers, artists here. The stories are amazing. All of these films are motivational. The songs are motivational to help inspire the youth and people all around the nation. This is why we should support Christian films. It's very important. There are over 5,000 people here. There are over 1,000 video submissions to this festival, and I think there are about 200 screenings going on. It's amazing. We're going to be doing some exclusive interviews later. You guys don't want to miss it, so definitely stay tuned. Again, this is Shakitra with Kairos TV. So this is Shakitra with Kairos TV.
Hi, this is Joel Gonzalez and my mother Emma, who's visiting with me.
Wonderful. So what are you guys here for tonight?
I actually sit on the board of the International Christian Film Festival. I'm also a producer. I come out every year. I find great projects here that are being pitched. So we had a project that was pitched to us last year called Redeemed Serving Justice that we produced with Mans Mackey Studios. My company's Action Faith Media. We had T.C. Stallings in that, Keisha Knight-Pulliam, Joey Lawrence is in that film as well. So we're excited. We come out every year because a lot of great potential films come out of this film festival.
Wonderful, wonderful. And this is?
This is my beautiful mother Emma, who came out this year with me to support me.
Awesome. I'm sure you're